Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. Here today from Chung Lee Shao Day. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow. It's chow time. All right, guys. So apparently you guys wanted to know what an ABG was, or my take on the ABG. This was a video that was sent to me. I try not to mess with Chung Lee too much. Sometimes she does get upset at my takes on her videos, but yeah, what it is, what it is.
Hey guys, welcome back to At Liminal Period. It's your girl, Chun-Li Shoddy. In today's video, I have a clip from the Fung Bros that I wanted to share with you guys, and it covers the topic of ABGs. And what exactly is an ABG? Well, it's an acronym that stands for Asian Baby Girl, and it's essentially an Asian American girl that I would say identifies as a baddie. Okay. So anyways, I think it'll be very interesting to hear their take on what an ABG
Translation. Just like an American Asian thought. An American Asian modern woman is what I would call ABGs.
is. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Should people leave the term ABG alone and stop trying to redefine it?
Or is just anything Asian American not serious? So just call it whatever you want. What's going on, everybody? It's the Hot Pot Boys, David and Andrew here. We are talking about the term ABG and the potential redefinition of it. And if we continue to redefine that term ABG, does that mean that we just want to keep diluting our unique Asian American culture?
Oh my,
I don't understand.
ABG is like the only word that people use, guys. If we keep redefining it, we just won't have anything.
All right, so this was sparked by this viral meme on Your Everyday Asian. It has 4 different types of ABGs. It says, which type of ABG are you? Asian baby girl, Asian boss girl, Asian Bible girl, and Asian boba girl.
What?
Obviously, the traditional one is Asian baby girl. Now, we got to talk about why people want to keep redefining ABG.
So I guess they didn't mention it, but ABG actually originated from the term Asian baby gangster, and it referred
Shawty is correct.
to the girlfriends of Asian gangsters that were on the West.
So again, grew up in LA, Long Beach area most of my life. A lot of Asian gangsters, a lot of Cambodian gangsters, and most of their girls would be considered ABGs. Yes, it was very gangstery, very in-your-face girls that you didn't want to mess with because their boyfriends would probably kill you.
West Coast that were predominantly from the southeast region of Asia, so Cambodia, Laotian, Thai, and
That's us.
Vietnamese communities.
Let's talk about why.
Yeah, I think it was a very Vietnamese, Cambodian community thing in the United States because in Southern California, it's a huge population of that. And again, Cambodian gangsters are the biggest Asian gangsters or gang in the United States. So, yeah.
Why people want to keep redefining ABG and why people want their own ABG meaning for their own identity.
And I do sympathize a lot with Asian females where they just don't have as many different representations in the media. Obviously, white women, you could be like Megan Fox, you could be like Kim K.
Bruh, that's the same. Megan Fox or Kim K? It's the same. You're both bombshells.
Whereas it's like for
No, Megan Fox is a little bit more natural, and then Kim K would be a little bit less natural, and they have different skin tones. I think that's what he's trying to talk about.
Asian women, are you a private school theatrical girl like a Sandra Oh, or are you a loud hipster girl like Ali Wong and Aquafina? And
AKA, were you rich or were you poor?
then you don't have a queen ABG that penetrated mainstream media to like help you define a girl that's from like an ethnic enclave.
I have some reasons on why I think ABG is still such a used term. Here's the thing.
It's the only AZN term.
Yeah.
I actually barely hear it, and I'm still in like Garden Grove, like Asian communities. It's definitely a lot less nowadays than it ever was.
That has standed the test of time. It's almost
AZN.
like the Air Force One.
Reason number 1 why ABG has stuck around is 1, it implies that you are Asian American. Not from Asia, but you're Asian American. Number 2, it implies that you're kind of a desired woman from your group. So whether you're an Asian Bible girl or Asian boba girl, you are like the cute, desirable girl at church. I like to use Asian Bible girl as an example because it's like the farthest thing from the original ABG.
Right, the most
term.
ridiculous reappropriation of the term.
Right, but Asian Bible girl would be like, yeah, well, like I wanted my own Bible churchy term to be part of the Asian American vocab.
Real quick, guys, I just want to go through this meme because I reposted this on Instagram and it actually got a ton of shares. Asian baby girl. This is the traditional definition. They use Gina Darling. You know, we've made a video about this in the past.
Who's Viet?
And basically, you know, it shifted over time to just be a look, but originally it was girlfriends of gangsters.
Yes. Yeah. Just like the word chola is meant for Latina girls of gangsters.
And a lot of people don't know, Andrew, the chola was actually a lot of really smart people believe that was the original inspiration.
Who are these
for the
really
Asian
smart
baby girl
people?
In 93. Moving on.
Not saying they're
two,
wrong, but
probably
who?
the biggest rival to the Asian baby girl is the Asian boss girl.
And this was started probably from an entirely different group of Asian women who were not ABGs at all. Like they weren't graduating from ABGs and then became boss girls. It's really just meant for like the yappy, career-minded, you know, they're probably educated in college and they went on to do business. Maybe they're entrepreneurial, but
I mean, it makes sense for me because they went to college. They all wanted that boss babe title, that boss girl title. Might as well just put Asian in front of it.
either way, their calendars are filled up and they're very productive.
I will say this though, I think that Asian boss girls still go to Asian clubs. They might not go to the same Asian clubs that the ABGs are going to, but I think they still like themselves in all Asian social environment. Yeah, and I think Asian boba girl and then Asian Bible girl, they're done as like a little bit more like parodies almost.
Now, I do want to go back to Asian boss girl real quick. If we keep diluting ABG, the original meaning, then are we just diluting other Asian American terms? Because we should probably have a set dictionary definition of things. Because
Right.
what happens...
I'm gonna call a little like stupidity on this because this is what's happening in the West. All terms are getting redefined. Woke. It used to be something else. It used to be really mean something else. Now it means something different. You know, there's just so many words that people love to use. Misogyny. Now it's just anything you're talking against women. When it used to be the hatred of women, right? Not like words are constantly getting redefined. I don't think it's really trying to like dilute Asian words or anything in particular. Just in the West, we're just diluting words, all words to be very ambiguous type words.
Is that
terms.
the professional, the yappy women, which yappy is actually a term you can use, they kind of, maybe appropriated or repurpose this term from a different group of women and then use it for their own kind of professional term.
Right. You're saying that if ABGs came from a certain set of experiences that like Taiwanese girls don't generally go through, for example, and Taiwanese girls come up with Asian boss girl, and let's say Viet or Lao girls came up with ABGs or were the first group of ABGs, then it's a little bit like they don't have
like a classist kind of thing, right? Like, oh, the Asian baby girls are all the gangsters, all the low lives kind of thing, and I'm an Asian boss girl. I've never lived that life. I'm this side of thing. I can see that.
Right to reappropriate.
And of course, this is just a silly Asian American term. Maybe.
Okay, sorry, I just want to cut it real quick because like I understand the position that they're coming from as far as like sympathizing with like the original meaning of the word and, you know, appropriating it and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like words have meanings, and sometimes like when it's a made up term like ABG, then the meaning continues to develop with the word and how it's used.
I 100% agree with Shawty on this one. Yeah, I agree that because the term, it is what it is. But again, in American culture, we were changing terms and changing words and changing verbiage constantly. Like cap. Never used to use that. And all of a sudden, cap is now used to define someone like lying or, you know, saying like bragging or something like that. So again, words and terms are getting constantly redefined left and right nowadays.
Because again, like when I said the history of the word was Asian baby gangsters, and it was specifically Southeastern Asian women, aka Lao, Thai, Cambodia, Vietnam, girlfriends of the gangsters on the West Coast. Okay. That was back in the 80s, early 90s. Okay.
I grew up here in the 90s. Trust me, I know.
And if you guys remember from a previous video of mine, like I mentioned, there wasn't a large Asian community within the East Coast.
No.
So even though now there is, like within the state of Georgia, Korean is the third most spoken language, Vietnamese is the fourth. So there is a large Asian community here. So just because some of the experiences are not in line at the same timeline, okay, doesn't mean that that experience isn't also had. So sorry, I know that was a mouthful, but basically what I'm saying is there are also Asian gangsters on the East Coast. Okay. There's a lot.
I don't think they were saying anything about difference of the East Coast or West Coast. Like, where are you bringing this argument from?
Maybe I'll do a video on that, but there's a lot of Vietnamese gangsters, drug busts, and just criminal activity happening here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Why are you like you seem like you want to battle as if like, yeah, we're doing it too over here. I don't get it, girl. It's just we're just defining terms. I don't think it really matters if it's East Coast or West Coast. I do admit, yes, there was a lot more Asians in the West Coast area, especially LA area, but what does that really point it out to anything?
And perhaps it just doesn't get the media attention, but I'm sure I can dig it up if you guys are interested in it. But there are many Asian girls, myself included, that might have worked at Asian bars, that have been around these Asian gangsters. Maybe some of them have dated Asian gangsters, but that was in the 2000s. So even though it was not in the same timeline, that's what I was saying, with the West Coast and being on the 90s timeline, you still have a certain experience. Okay. But the thing is, it's like these women in the 2000s, like they end up growing up. They end up going to college, going to get their careers, getting their life in order. And so again, the term ABG continues to grow and develop with the...
See, this is where I would disagree with you, girl. It continues to develop because it's technically it's defining a certain group of women of that sector, right? When those group of women aren't in a sense in that term anymore, they just become something else. Why would you just redefine it? Because they were Asian baby gangsters, right? But now they're not gangsters anymore. Why would you still want to use the word and still want to use the term? You still want to use the ABGs, but you just changed it to Asian boss girl. That doesn't make sense to me. But then again, I'm a guy.
Individual or the group of people that identify with that term. Personally, for me, ABG is just a term for an Asian American woman. Okay? Sorry, the term came out in 93. I was born in 93.
I wouldn't say so, because I would not be using ABG on traditional Asian women. I really would not. I would only use it on Americanized Asian women. But she did say American women, so she might be right.
So if you really want to talk about it, maybe I'm the original ABG. Okay? But no, just kidding. But yeah, I don't know. Asian American woman, someone that may...
Like, how can you say that when you said that you were in the East Coast and you weren't where it's primarily was?
Maybe is not particularly in the mold. Maybe someone that has a little bit more sexual appeal, sexual desire, whatever. Bung Bros already said it.
It's just a free for all. Maybe that's how it should be. I'm asking you guys, I want to see your feedback in the comments down below, whether you think the ABG term should be protected to its original meaning, or now it's just this abbreviation that can just mean literally anything.
I think you have to take a look at other communities. For example, African American community have terms Sadidi, Yellowbone, Redbone. These are things that are generally only make sense within that ethnic enclave, right? That world. Tita in Hawaii, it's a term for like a brash Polynesian woman of large stature. Snow Bunny, Southern Belle, indicating, a girl in Denver. Jap, not the derogatory term for Japanese Americans. I'm talking about Jewish American princess.
Yeah.
He's doing a really bad job explaining some of these terms because, am I understanding this? Was he saying that Snow Bunny and Southern Belle are the one and the same?
No, he's saying that that is a term used for the white enclave of communities. We don't use those terms for Asian women, and we don't usually use those terms so much for other cultures. That's what he's been saying this whole time, girl. Go on.
No.
That's a term that only sort of like in the Jewish American world they use. People outside of that world, no idea what they're talking about.
But since ABG just says Asian baby girl, that kind of left the umbrella meaning very open,
Yeah.
which it could
Exactly.
encompass all types of Asian women. So
If it
now,
would have stayed Asian baby gangster like it was in 1993, then it would be more concrete and less fluid.
Yeah, maybe because then you couldn't say Asian business gangster because that wouldn't really make sense. Or like you could, but it really wouldn't.
You'd
catch.
have to be really ruthless at business to make that logically make sense. If you look at like Southern Belle, Andrew, that definition has never shifted to include Kim Kardashian. That's like very trendy in 2022, but that can never be a Southern Belle because the Southern Belle obviously has a lot of movies and a lot of celebrities that sort of verify and solidify that archetype. In some sense, we have to just let terms be the terms that they've been for like 20 years.
Right. Even though like the word fob, a lot of people kind of disagree whether we should still use that term. It does have a meaning, and that meaning does not change. You cannot redefine
It means
fob.
you weren't born in America,
Yeah,
basically.
but you're not redefining that term.
Right.
It means what it means.
True.
If we want Asian American culture to
Okay, so they're moving on. So I had to get back onto the topic of fob real quick. But fob, for those who might not know it, is the acronym for fresh off boat or fresh off the boat, meaning you just immigrated here. You just landed here. Okay, because I don't know
Not
100%
just,
if it came
but
from Vietnam, but it would
was.
only make sense because a lot of Vietnamese refugees ended up in America on small sailboats. But yeah, fresh off the boat would be a term. And to my understanding, it's not only used within the Eastern and Southeastern Asian community, but it's also used within the South Asian communities. So very interesting, but it means fresh off the boat. However, I would challenge and say that even though that like the acronym itself is very concrete, as in you're talking about freshly or newly immigrated individual, there are a lot of people that will actually use fob or fobby, like FOBBY, as an adjective. So they can say, hey, you're acting really fobby, and they're just talking about stereotypical Asian behavior. Okay.
Yes and no. Because the more stereotypical behavior is usually denounced onto immigrants. Most immigrants are going to pretty much embody that. So I have a lot of fobby tendencies because I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born here. I think it's okay to use that term when I'm like at the temple doing my temple stuff. It's a little fobby because it's still part of the traditional culture that I came from.
Like maybe you're going to a fast food restaurant and after you check out and you leave, you grab a handful of napkins and keep in your glove compartment. Now, there's a lot of different communities
Yeah, that's a lot of communities that do that.
that also do these things. However, for some reason, it's ingrained in a lot of Asian immigrant or Asian American immigrant minds. And so maybe it just, I don't know, is an internal bias, you know what I mean? But that, or collecting grocery bags, using grocery bags as trash can liners, like just different ways that I actually think are not racially inherited, but actually just common behaviors within people within a certain
Okay, I'll give you
class
that, girl.
system.
I'll give you that.
You know what I mean? Or within a certain level of economic, I guess, progress. But anywho, that was just my little tidbit on the word fobby, is that term is actually changed and applied to different circumstances that aren't necessarily always concrete, because, someone that has never stepped foot in Asia could act fobby by demonstrating a behavior.
Continue and build up, and we want to build up this dictionary of Asian American terms, then we cannot keep redefining ABG. As silly as this sounds and as maybe over serious as you think I'm taking this, we probably can't do that.
Well, so many Asian American words, Andrew, in the past 30 years have like come in vogue and gone out of vogue. Whether that's AZN, I still like that word, but a lot of people think you're outdated for using it.
I love AZN. I used it all the time growing up in my like high school days. It was a major thing. I think one of my screen names is like AZN something something something. So I like that term. Yeah, I guess it is outdated now because I never hear it nowadays, and I don't use the term anymore either.
And then I remember Phil Wang, he was coming up with something for second gen Asian Americans, ASN. So we would just say ASIN instead of like Asian, because Asian would be for people from Asia. It never took.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ricer's gone because most guys who used to drive super.
I still use the term, and the term still gets used a lot, unless, especially in my area, the LA OC area, still a lot of ricers.
JDM rice rocket cars are more like onto exotics now. So it's like, Dan, can any terms
I can somewhat agree with that. That yeah, more of the JDM people now have gone over to a little bit more exotics, but there's still a lot of JDM people that are considered ricers.
just stick around? Because doesn't that make you feel like you're part of a zeitgeist instead of always looking back to Asia and referencing like Uwu and anime and Naruto? Why do we always got to reference everything from Asia? Can we have anything of our own, or is it just what it is because we're not like making a strong enough cultural push to develop our own?
I mean, we're only 6% of the country here, so it's hard to make a cultural push when we're not that big of the population.
Identity that's not linked to the motherland. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just trying to ask people, what's the plan?
If these words from our Asian enclaves in America cannot stand to be unique, then what does that mean for the future of our unique Asian American culture? That's the question. All right, everybody, that wraps it up. Please.
Okay. Well, they're wrapping up the video, so I guess I will too, but I don't actually think that they defined what ABG is or Asian baby girl actually is. Like, I don't think that there were any, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I just got to do a second video on this to dig a little bit deeper into the history and understand the cultural context, because as I mentioned, to me, the term ABG or Asian baby girl just refers to an Asian American woman that identifies as a boss babe. You know what I mean?
You just changed it, girl. You literally just changed it as you explained it. You said it was an Asian American woman, and then you said that identifies as boss babe. That doesn't, like, you should have just said Asian women that identified as boss babe instead of saying it's Asian women first, because now you just put another caveat onto that. So I would disagree with you a little bit on the definition. To me, it's just, in my own opinion, thoughts. Asian thoughts. Modern Asian women that are thoughts. And 304 is just like every other modern Western woman, except they're Asian. Asian baby girls. My opinion.
Someone that has the aesthetic, someone that takes care of themselves, someone that maintains themselves, maybe a little bit more on the bougier side, you know what I mean?
See, that's the crazy thing. Why would you, like, from what it was gangsters to now you're saying they're more of the bougier women? It doesn't make sense to me that you would jump from that term to this term so easily.
Lashes, nails, you know, I don't know. Like, just imagine when you talk about a modern boss babe, what do you guys think of? You know, like, I've had plenty of videos talking about it. So just take that aesthetic and apply it to an Asian woman. That is your Asian baby girl. But
Yes,
again,
I can
just
agree with it.
because the cover is one thing doesn't mean that that woman.
I just think that she always wants to use this term boss babe in there. It's just Asian thoughts. Asian thoughts, make it simple, because I wouldn't consider high earning women or high earning Asian women as Asian boss girls. I would not use that term for them. They're just, you know, it's just like a weird, stupid term to me. But to me, it is encompassing more of just the American culture, the Western culture. Women that are very westernized are Asian baby girls. Women that are very traditional, that are fob, that just came from the country, that are immigrants, I wouldn't consider them Asian baby girls or, Asian boss girls in any way, shape, or form.
Necessarily is. And I think that that is a differentiating factor between other women and ABGs. So perhaps I will do a deep dive into some of my friends if I can get their permission.
Again, I only did this video because someone asked me what wanted my take on the ABG thing and on this particular video. I don't fully disagree with her, but I think she wants to use the term only for boss babes, and I don't really think it's only fitting for boss babes. It's just modern thoughts, modern women that sleep around and do all these things. Those are Asian baby girls, because you would never call traditional women from other countries or from Asia and stuff like that an Asian baby girl, in my opinion. Just that. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Get you next time. Ciao.